I know you love earning travel rewards and cash back, and that's why you're going to love Rakuten. With Rakuten, you can earn cash back on everything you need to book your dream trip, hotels, flights, rental cars, experiences, and more, while still booking through your favorite travel sites. And don't worry, cash back can be earned on top of earning the credit card points and the hotel and airline loyalty points that matter most to you, depending on how you make your booking. Plus, with Rakuten, you can also earn cash back on groceries and other purchases like electronics, pet supplies, and more. And the best part, you can join today for free and start earning cash back on top of your travel rewards. Go to Rakuten.com or get the app. That's Rakuten, Rakuten. Rakuten, the most rewarding way to shop.
So you need to understand how your relationship status might be recognized or not recognized. If you are in a same gender loving couple and it's recognized in the country that you left, how is that interpreted in the country that you are planning to move in or you've already moved? What are the laws related to inheritance? Does that change? Divorce, that's another inevitability that could happen to people that people think, oh, it's going to be forever. But, we're human beings. It could happen. One of the mistakes that people make is they bias a little too much to, invincibility and not thinking about, well, what could happen.
That is our wonderful guest today, Chrishan Wright. She is the founder of BlaxitGlobal.com, a vibrant hub dedicated to providing information, inspiration, and empowerment for the global Black community seeking a fresh start abroad. And as a relocation expert, as somebody who has also relocated herself from the USA to Portugal, in this episode, she's bringing her personal experience moving abroad, as well as her expertise helping others move abroad. So there are a ton of takeaways in this one. And even if you're not considering a move abroad in the near future, it's always nice to kind of have these things to think about and these really actionable tips in your travel tool belt, just in case you end up entertaining the idea at some point in the future. Of course, we're going to hear a bit about Chrishan's life abroad. She lives in Portugal and what the scene is like there, and plenty of other stuff happening in this one. You're going to love it. Plus, I want to give a shout out to another listener who is making their travel dream come true. I love sharing these stories. They inspire me. Hope they inspire you as well. And I'll leave you with a wonderful quote to close this one out. It's all happening in this episode right now. So buckle up, strap in. Thanks for being here, and welcome to the Zero to Travel podcast, my friend.
You're listening to the Zero to Travel podcast, where we explore exciting travel-based work, lifestyle, and business opportunities, helping you to achieve your wildest travel dreams. And now your host, world wanderer and travel junkie, Jason Moore.
Hey, what's up? It's Jason here with ZeroToTravel.com. Welcome to the show. Thanks for hanging out, letting me bring a little travel into your ears today. This is the show to help you travel the world on your terms, to fill your life with as much travel as you desire, no matter what your situation or experience. And if you enjoy the show, I'm sure you're going to enjoy the newsletter as well. It's free. You can sign up over at ZeroToTravel.com/newsletter. If you haven't done that already, please keep in touch over there. And I also encourage you to check out Chrishan Wright's work over at BlaxitGlobal.com. We've had her on the podcast before, and she puts together some incredibly helpful resources over there, like a Move Abroad starter kit. She hosts some workshops and things like that. So if you are interested in moving abroad, she's a great resource to help you out. Okay, stick around on the back end. I'm going to share that listener shout out, an inspiring travel story, and leave you with a quote. For now, please enjoy my conversation with Chrishan Wright. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the other side, my friend. Cheers. Chrishan Wright, welcome back to the Zero to Travel podcast, my friend. So great to see you. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Great to see you. And thank you for asking me back.
Of course. I mean, yeah, open door here. We were just chatting a little bit beforehand, and you said you were going deep with language lessons. You live in Portugal. We're going to talk about moving abroad, of course, today, the big topic. How long have you been living there now?
I just celebrated a year.
That makes this even more intriguing because you're past sort of the honeymoon phase. You've gone through the whole year and you've had the new experiences, and now, yeah, this is a good time, but it's still fresh. You know what I mean? And you're still there. You haven't been there for like 10 years, so you'll remember some of the mistakes that you've made that people should avoid, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, I don't know about you, but it's either like I try to forget the mistakes, or I mean, maybe that's it. It's just like my own mind protecting itself. It's like, let's just pretend
Yeah, right.
that didn't.
No, it's like Men in Black, when they had the thing to erase your memory. It's like,
yeah, just like lasering myself. But you've been there for a year, so you haven't had a chance to do that yet, I guess. So this is going to be interesting. Do you want to share quickly, talk about the podcast, the community, what you do? I think it's such a great work you're doing. So I just wanted for you to share that.
Yeah, sure. So Blaxit Global is a platform that centers and helps Black folks all over the world that are interested in moving abroad or are actively living abroad. And so our ecosystem is mostly YouTube channel and podcast. Have a private community, Blaxit Global Passport. We also do a summit right now. We're in the midst of planning for the Move to Portugal virtual summit in November. And then this year, I hosted a Scout House, Nomad Noir, for people who are interested in moving to Portugal and want to have me as their fairy scout mother.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that experience, the Scout House thing. Is that like kind of like a way for people to dip their toes into it and like sort of get the reality of the lifestyle?
Yes, for sure. So we had 2 cohorts this past August, and 3 in each. And the women came from all different parts of the U.S. This one in particular were Americans. And it was showing them around Portugal, but not the tourist, version of, looking at museums and things like that. But it's really like peeling back the onion layers. Like, how do you start to navigate? How do you think about how you want to apply or change or enhance your lifestyle? Do you want to live in the hilly areas that offer amazing views, or are you wanting to live somewhere flat? Connecting them with different resources. Like we had sessions and seminars with a healthcare provider, a concierge service, I should say, as well as an immigration attorney, and really just having them get their questions answered by myself, as well as introducing them to Black expats that are living in Portugal. So it was a really 360 experience.
Yeah, so cool. And I mean, it's always such a smart thing to get around other people that are kind of working towards the same goals. You can get so much momentum that way through community. You have a podcast as well, we should mention. We'll link up to all this. How long has that been going?
Ooh, good question. Next year makes 5 years. It's hard to believe.
Congratulations. Because most people, I mean, I think the average podcast, don't quote me on this because this isn't an accurate statistic, but it's something like 11 episodes or something, because it's hard.
It is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard work, but it's worth it because I see people in real life when they come, maybe they're visiting Portugal. Oftentimes I'm recognized by my voice than I am my face. But even when that happens, I get emails from people and DMs about the impact that the podcast has had on their life. And so that's what keeps me going.
For me personally, and I'm sure you feel the same way, it's an opportunity for self growth, right? Like getting to talk to these people, like it's getting to share it. That's the privilege. And then getting personally to benefit from the conversations and to learn from guests and all their perspectives and ideas. Can you think what some of the biggest lessons are that you've taken away from guest interviews?
Ooh. I think planning is key. That's for sure. But also, and I say this I run an accountability group inside Passport, is you can have your plan for your move, where you want to live, what country, maybe, what visa might be most appropriate, etc. Maybe even where you want to live neighborhood wise. But you also need to leave space for the magic to happen, the stuff that you didn't plan, the serendipity, the things that you thought couldn't happen. And so what I have encountered, particularly with these past two cohorts inside Passport, are people who thought that one door closed to them, one path closed to them, and then out of the blue, something else happened and it was beyond their expectation, or they've hit like a challenge. And I also say the closer you get to goal, the more you will be tested. And sometimes it's a test of your resolve to see, how bad do you want this, right? How comfortable are you with letting go from what's familiar and embracing the unfamiliar? And so I think those have been like the biggest and most impactful thus far.
Should we dive into this list? Because I know through this list, we're going to have a lot of, this is probably going to lead to a lot of different other sidebars, but
no doubt.
Get two podcasters together. We know how to keep it going, right?
Mm-hmm. It's like, how long do you have to listen, people?
Yeah. I thought it would be fun to approach this from the other side, because a lot of these lists can be like, the things to do. Of course, some of the biggest lessons are from the mistakes. And also those are more of the fun stories, right? Like I have so many. You mentioned taking language classes. I can tell you, many language mistakes that I've made in real time. One recently, this was fun. We had a neighborhood party here. I live in it's like townhomes, and our little area is called the Samaaya, and that is the sort of collection of houses that works together to kind of like maintain, and we have our own budget for different things and everything. We were having our Samaaya party, which was like our summer get together with everybody from like these 2 rows of houses. But I kept saying Samalaya party, and that means intercourse.
Oh. It was going to be one of those parties.
So, I got a couple looks, and then, it's like, well, what's going on? What am I saying? My wife's like, you can't say Samalaya. It's Samaaya. I'm like, gosh, that one letter makes a big difference, doesn't it? And I was like, well, I mean, maybe I was just testing the waters, honey. Maybe I want to have that kind of party. All right, no, I'm kidding.
Maybe somebody brought an upside down pineapple. I just learned about that.
What's that? I haven't heard about that.
Oh, it was a conversation on my YouTube channel about dating over 60. And one of my guests from last season before last, was on. She lives in Portugal, and she said she was doing the whole online dating thing. And when you have, or someone has an upside down pineapple in their profile, that means that they're a swinger or want to do a partner swap. And I was like, wait, really? What? Because I'm thinking of pineapple, Williams Sonoma. You see the pineapples. It's like a symbol of welcome. Well, this is a whole new meaning of welcome.
Wait, now it's just a picture of the pineapple, or like they'd be holding it upside down, or somehow it'd be in the background kind of thing?
An image upside down. And then last week I read in Spain, it's a whole different meaning, that if you have an upside down pineapple in your cart, that means that you basically are looking for a good time. And I'm like, but then again, like, isn't it all about perspective?
Yeah.
Like, you might have put a pineapple in your cart, and to you, it's right side up. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is too much.
I mean, there's a long list of mistakes to avoid. One of them, if you're not available, don't put a pineapple. Apparently, you can't even go to the grocery store in Spain and shop for pineapples. Like, what if you just want pineapples on your tacos?
Just get them pre-cut. Pre-cut. It's safer.
That's funny. But I mean, this is kind of a good segue because these are the kind of things that, like the one I just talked about and the pineapple or whatever, like it's like you will do things that kind of, especially when you're from outside of the culture that are, I'm using air quotes, mistakes, or like, might be things that like could be embarrassing or something. I mean, I don't generally let that kind of stuff bother me because like my language mistake, I've kind of just come to accept that if I'm going to put myself out there and use a language and try to learn it, that I'm going to make mistakes, and then almost like giving myself permission pre-hand to just be like, okay, like I'm not going to beat myself up when I do it. But I am in a country where if I need to switch to English in Norway, most people they're incredible in English, so I can always switch over. You don't necessarily have that option, I would imagine. In Portugal, it's pretty heavy duty Portuguese pretty much everywhere. Or?
It depends on where. So in Lisbon, where I live, generally speaking, you can get by with English. Where the neighborhood I live in specifically, though, I'm one of few English speakers, so I use my Portuguese all the time. And I would say mine is more transactional at this point than conversational. The goal of me doing the language class, in addition to having it for my citizenship down the road, is for me to become conversational. I don't have the goal of fluency at all. If it happens, great, but that's not my goal. And so if you go into the interior of the country, like Alentejo, that type of area, then a little less so. And so much so, like, funny story, since we're onto stories, I had my epic 50th birthday over the summer, and my
happy
friend,
birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
Officially. I know I did it on WhatsApp, but we'll say it here.
Thank you. And I had a couple friends from the States come, my friend and her husband, we've known each other since we were little. So they had wanted to go to Algarve because the year prior when they were here, they saw this bag and they're like, oh, you know what? We want to get this bag before we go back to the States. I'm like, well, I haven't been down to Algarve yet, so I'll go for a ride. We ride down there and it's a Sunday and the place is closed. They're like, what do you mean it's closed? Like, all these tourists and stuff are here. And like, why are they closed? I'm like, because it's Portugal and it's a family day. Like, everybody isn't motivated by money the way, we are in America and other, capitalist driven societies. Not that capitalism doesn't exist here, but get what I'm saying. So we walk around for a little bit and then we get back in the car and I'm falling asleep at this point. So it's like, okay. And we stop to get gas. And as we, I kind of look, I see I'm in a gas station, go back to sleep. But I hear the window open and I'm hearing cars like, phew, phew, phew. And people drive generally faster in Europe. But I was like, okay. But it just felt like, vroom. I'm like, So I'm just kind of half conscious. And then I hear the car like, gada, 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 gada. And I'm like, wait a minute, I need to like shake myself awake. We break down on this highway and cars are like, shoom, shoom, shoom. But now I don't know where we are. And it's definitely not a place where there's Uber, Bolt, and surely not where English is spoken. And I was like, oh, dear God. I don't know how to say we're broken on the side of the road. I have no idea what highway. I have no sense of direct. And they know no Portuguese. So I'm like, oh, my goodness. So I'm taking whatever words, and I'm sure I sounded like a toddler trying to piece together a word or two to get us help. Needless to say, we got out.
Okay, well done. High five. Can I have one coffee, please? Doesn't get your car towed. Right?
Yeah.
But you do figure it out, I guess. That's that's a inspirational story also because it's figure outable, all those situations, I guess. But still, it must be nice to go deeper with the language. Have you found that even just conversationally or doing it, locally for the transactional stuff, as you mentioned, that's made you feel more connected to where you live and to the community and everything, even just the small interactions?
Oh yeah, because I moved with my dog and she's a little cutie and so she gets a lot of attention. And so I've been picking up words because they always assume that I speak Portuguese and they'll engage me in conversation, but then they'll ask me questions about her. What's her name? How old is she? What breed she is? Does she bite? And I've been like, oh wait, I know, what is this word? Or I'm hearing this question a lot. And then I'm curious. So then I'm like, oh wait, let me see what this is. And so that's helped me feel more relaxed. And I shouldn't say rarely. Oftentimes, with the things that I feel confident answering, I've never had someone say, "Oh, I really don't know what you're saying at all." They'll be patient. I may speak slowly, but I haven't had somebody like completely get it wrong what I'm saying. So that's been good. But then I've learned filler words that make me be able to stay in a conversation a bit longer instead of saying, falas English. So I like, oh, boys, which is yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Buy yourself some time when you're
Yeah,
thinking of the next
exactly.
vocabulary word. Yeah. That's great though. That's awesome. I mean, the dog sounds like a great conduit for language practice.
Yes.
You know, you don't need to go to the extra practice sessions because you're getting it on the street when you walk
Yeah,
the dog,
exactly.
I guess. That's amazing. We'll get back to the interview in just a moment. I know you love earning travel rewards and cash back, and that's why you're going to love Rakuten. With Rakuten, you can earn cash back on everything you need to book your dream trip, hotels, flights, rental cars, experiences, and more, while still booking through your favorite travel sites. And don't worry, cash back can be earned on top of earning the credit card points and the hotel and airline loyalty points that matter most to you, depending on how you make your booking. Plus, with Rakuten, you can also earn cash back on groceries and other purchases like electronics, pet supplies, and more. And the best part, you can join today for free and start earning cash back on top of your travel rewards. Go to Rakuten.com or get the app. That's Rakuten, Rakuten. Rakuten, the most rewarding way to shop. Now, back to the show. All right, well, let's dive into this list. I don't know if you have this prioritized, if you just have a list of. I asked for 7, but I mean, your list might be longer or shorter. I don't know how many you brought today.
Okay.
What do you have? What do you have for us? This
I think
is
it's a
your
mix.
show. I'm just along for the ride. Yeah.
I think it's a mix. I think it's a mix of things that some people might think of, but then there's some that like, especially with doing Blaxit Global for almost 5 years, that I've seen mistakes people have made. And so one big one that has happened as of late that I've been seeing with some of the more recent people are like people grossly underestimating cost of living because they've a lot of times, it takes time to plan a move abroad. And we were all during lockdown had infinite amount of time on our hands and seeing these posts of different influencers or listening to podcasters, and sometimes they throw out numbers and that plants a seed like, oh, no. Yesterday's price is not today's price. And so they may have enough to get a visa, but then when they get to whatever country, then they're like, oh my gosh, like things are more expensive. I was looking for my apartment, it was more expensive. Or I didn't forecast exchange rates. And converting money, and why is it 93 cents one day and 87 cents the next day with moving money? So those are the ones that I think is like a big one, because if you forecast incorrectly, you can burn your money down and then that's it.
Yeah. Okay. That's a great one to start with. I mean, the practical of all practicalities, the money, right? It's like you don't want to run out of that if you're not bringing your job with you. And I guess so. Yeah. To counteract that, I guess you would say just do more research and think of all the angles and how it might impact, and then just sort of be conservative in your estimates. Let's say, as you pointed out, you've been mentoring and helping people move abroad too. So I did forget to mention that it's not only your personal experience you're bringing to the table here, but you have all this experience from all these other people that you've helped facilitate moves for. So you have like a real big picture view of some of these mistakes. So, okay. So do not underestimate your cost of living. It's a great one.
Yeah. Use the tools that are out there. There's the Eartha Weights, there's Numbeo. There are people like myself that continue to, put out content around, the city in which I live, the country in which I live. We're doing our summit, so I would say, get in community and ask the questions that you need answered so that you can put your best foot forward. And I think once you do that, I think most things can fall into place. But that is one that I'm seeing where people are fixated on a number that they heard, 2 or 3 years ago. And I get it. The pandemic put us all into a time warp. One day it was 2020 and the next we're approaching 2025. And they were like, wait a minute, how the heck we get here? So it may not seem like a lot of time has passed, but time has passed, global inflation happened. And so that's my encouragement.
Yeah, that's great. And you can also get an idea of your head where it's like, oh, I'm going to live on like $1,000 a month and it's going to be great. And then, like you said, the reality might not always match up with that. And the exchange rate thing is huge. I mean, obviously you can't control that over time. It has been working in our favor for the US dollar perspective. But when I first came to Norway, everything was like 40% more because everything was reversed. So the same coffee that cost me $5 now would cost like almost 10. And so it really impacted my lifestyle. This is something to seriously consider. All right.
You have to come to Portugal because you can get a coffee over where I live for 80 cents.
Killing
I'm like, woo, maybe I won't be going to Norway.
Killing me with all your killing me with all your sunshine and your cheap coffees that taste good.
I'm like, ooh, too rich for my blood.
Me too. You can see I'm drinking my coffee at home. All right. Give us another one.
Okay. Not being clear on the visa requirements. It kind of goes back to something that I said about like being fixated, right? Sometimes people get fixated on one way, one path, but what they overlook is that there are multiple paths oftentimes that you can, plot out for your move. I'm more of a plan A, plan B kind of gal. So when I approached my move to Portugal, I thought, okay, I can go a retirement visa. If that doesn't work, maybe I'll consider going back to school, doing a student visa, things like that. Work wasn't really on my list because Portugal is not a country that you want to come to get a job because the wages are low. Plus, you're taking a job away from someone who is in a local economy and is a citizen. So usually, you bring your own job or you work online or you have investments or a mixture of the two. But sometimes I see people get fixated on one particular path. I'm going to go this way. And then they forget like, well, there's entrepreneurship. There is asking, if you have a job that's for a multinational company, you might be able to do a transfer, again, student visa. There are a myriad of options. And so these rules change. Every country has their own set of rules, what visas that they make available, and the requirements, especially if it's a means tested one, can change from year to year. And so that's the other thing is just keeping abreast of what the visa requirements are for long-term stays and making sure that you are plugged in so that you can kind of think about, okay, if this isn't a pathway, doesn't mean that I can't go at all. Maybe it means I need to try a different way. As a build to that, I would say that there's a person that I met almost a year ago, and she was trying to come to Portugal on a retirement visa, passive income visa, D7. And she had gotten her apartment at the beginning of last year because you have to have your apartment before you apply, and then got rejected. And then she appealed and got rejected again. And it was just something that they just were not understanding. And she said, oh, you're misinterpreting this. It was on the third try that she was able to overcome what it was. But that is to say, like, you have to have some type of resolve. You have to, whatever path you're going to go, really understand what those requirements are, and then have some resolve. Because again, it goes back to what I said before, the closer you get to goal, the more you will be tested. So had she given up, she would have missed out on what has been so far a really fabulous experience.
Yeah. And it would be super easy to get discouraged after securing an apartment and then getting rejected. And it's like, and then again, that's tricky because they make you get an apartment, but then you haven't even been approved yet. That's rough, but that's the way it is, I guess. But I like, your strategy of kind of envisioning the different paths and being willing to embrace them. So you're saying like, all right, if I don't do this, then I'll do a student thing and just kind of committing and finding the different avenues. I guess that's great advice. What is the more popular visa now that you see people coming to Portugal specifically? We can just talk about Portugal specifically.
I would say digital nomad, and the D7 is still pretty popular, but I would say the digital nomad visa is growing in popularity for sure.
Those visas have really opened up the world in a lot of ways, the digital nomad visas. Because a lot of them have pretty minimal requirements too. Not all of them, but it can vary. We're not even going to get into visas because when it comes to all the legal visa stuff, I just avoid that type of content, I guess, because I'm like you said, it's just changing all the time.
All the time.
1 month they're like this, and then the next time it's like, okay. All right. Another awesome tip. What else you got for us today? Another mistake to avoid when moving abroad.
I would say ignoring your finances back home in your home country, wherever that is in the world. So that could mean some people say, oh, I've got all this, whether it's student loan debt or credit card debt or whatever. Like, whoops, I'm leaving the country. Catch me if you can. And they completely ignore that. And then, there are things that could happen. You could have a family emergency. You might need to go back. Things might change in the country that you are moving to, your adopted country. Maybe it's political. Maybe it's something personal to your situation. And then you have to go back and pick up your life. And, using the United States as an example, your credit history is something that is an important part of life. And so you might be inadvertently, setting yourself up for something that is unintended and can be harmful. So I try to tell people as much as possible to think about whatever, when they're doing their budget, to think about whatever ongoing obligations that they might have in their home country. Maybe if they have a mortgage and they have a renter, that's great, but what's the plan if that situation changes or you decide you want to make it a permanent stay? How do you think about closing, off your life there, selling the property or what have you? Keeping track of, credit card bills and deadlines, because you also hit a time warp when you're abroad. Time zones are a thing. And I remember, I think it was last year, where one day I wake up and it's Monday, the next it's Sunday, and I don't know days anymore. And I went to pay a bill and it was going to be late because I lost track of the day. And thankfully I have Wise. And so I was able to transfer the money into my US account within a few hours. And because of me being ahead 5 hours, it helped because I was able to get the money there before they drew on the account. And I was like, oh my gosh, now I have everything on auto pay. But at the time when I first got here, I was like, oh my gosh, how did I do that? Because I'm living my best life. I don't know what time is anymore. It is fake. It doesn't even exist.
Yeah. Has your relationship with time really dramatically changed that much since you have moved abroad? Yeah.
Oh,
Can you talk
yeah.
about that a little more?
It is. It has changed because, now I just celebrated a year here and I'm like, wow, it's the fastest year of my life.
Mm.
When I was in the States, it felt like I was doing hard time
Yeah.
for a crime I didn't commit. And now I'm like, wow, how are we almost in a
You're
new
just
year?
enjoying life and it's flying.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, you're working for yourself, so you can control your time and everything, and everybody has different situations. And have you had a hard time shaking the sort of like the United States hustle mentality type of, coming from that environment and then going into maybe, would you describe Portugal as like a more relaxed culture in some ways? It seems like you've made the adjustment very well.
Yes, I've assimilated very well.
Yeah, do you still find the sort of like I need to be productive kind of thing versus living your best life, which is, those go hand in hand. I mean, it's
Mhm.
like you can't separate these things out, but I'm just curious, what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah. No, I've embraced siesta culture. So I do take my naps regularly. I plan them. If I'm not going out, I take 2 naps a day. If I am going out, at least aim to take one. Today is not a day that I'm taking a nap, but I just work through it. And then in terms of productivity, one of the things that I think has been a blessing of doing this work for almost 5 years is that I've had the opportunity to see people's successes and their challenges and these honest conversations with people that have moved abroad. And that is one of the things that came up as a central theme of how do you divorce yourself from the hustle and grind culture. And in preparation for my move, I did a lot of mental work on how do I start to, activate that now. Maybe it's doing 1 or 2 things in a day or nothing at all and being okay, embracing rest. And it shouldn't be construed as being, unproductive or lazy. Every day we rest, on average, if you're lucky, 6 to 8 hours a day, your body has to rest. And so I've been grateful and I feel like being able to get myself off the hamster wheel physically by moving abroad, but also not adopting that culture in how I run my business has been a blessing.
This could be part of the list. Maybe a mistake to avoid would be not preparing yourself, as you said, to divorce yourself from the hustle and grind culture before you leave. Like I think that was really smart to just kind of, you were like getting into that mindset and figuring that out before you arrived. And that's huge. Not always easy to do. I mean, this morning, Chrishan, on this topic, I was sitting there and I was like, my neighbor and I have been talking about having coffee together. And I had a bit of time and I'm like, it was that exact sort of, I got so much to do. And it's just like, I was like, you know what? There's always so much to do. This was all in my head, by the way. Nobody was here. And then I'm being more intentional about connecting with the people I live near and around in this community and having those in-person connections. And that's not taking away my productivity because I'm not working. That's called being human, right? Which is an important part of life. Can you say it's an important part of life? It is life. And, having that time and those interactions really, it's important. It allows me to be more creative, I feel. It just makes me feel more at peace. And so he came over for coffee and we were eating banana cake at like 9:30 in the morning or whatever that we had left over from this weekend. And it was great, but it was exactly one of those moments where because that's still, even all these years abroad, and I would say Norway's similar in the sense that like the stores aren't open on Sunday. It's less of a sort of hustle and grind culture. But coming from the States, coming from the East Coast also, feel like it's still there. And that's a good thing too, in a way.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Part of
yeah.
it, you know?
Yeah. I think it's one way of really leaning into not only the culture, but also recognizing that a move abroad is not just a physical transformation. I'm moving from one geography to another, but it really is a complete transformation. And so, who is the you that is going to emerge along this process?
You could get stuck in the surface level stuff of it. Like, oh, I'm going to live near the beach and I'm going to be this. It's going to be more relaxed culture and all that. But yeah, so on that point, like, what is like the biggest thing you've learned about yourself over the last year living abroad and
Ooh,
transformationally?
that's a great question. I think I would say some of the things that I had put more emphasis on and importance became less important along this journey, in this past year. I think old me was, uh, driven and wanted to move up the corporate ladder and be productive and do all these things. And new me is very relaxed, more open to making meaningful connections with people, still driving impact. So I can't say it's been a complete abandonment of who I once was, but I think the things that used to get me riled up are like, it's not a today problem. And I've been able to like let go. And so as an introvert, I would spend a lot of time in my head and ruminate and time warp. I'd always have my 5 and 10 year plan and be focused on the next thing, or ruminate about the things that happened in the past. And the gift has been being rooted in the present more so than at any particular time in my life. And so I think that's been my biggest learning and evolution so far.
That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get back to the interview in just a moment. Now, back to the show. What else you got for us?
I didn't remember what number I'm up to.
Well, if we counted the last one, we could say you're up to number 5, but we don't have to if you got your list.
Okay. So this one is one that a lot of people, I would say most people who are abroad, don't pay attention to, but that everyone should. And it's a reality that death is inevitable. So what people make a mistake is, uh, we have this magical thinking that, sometimes when you move abroad, you start feeling a little younger. You're doing things that you either never thought you would do, or things that you hadn't done in a long time. There's this sense of euphoria. Everything is in, I don't even know what we're up to, 8K or whatever, right? Technicolor, what have you. But the reality of it is that you can get sick. You can die. Someone in your community can die, right? And what you need to know and understand is, what are the laws that are applicable to you as a resident in a foreign country, or even as a tourist, because I'm not going to assume that everyone who's listening to this conversation is either currently abroad or have the intention to move abroad. So what happens if it happens? So you need to understand how your relationship status might be recognized or not recognized. If you are in a same gender loving couple and it's recognized in the country that you left, how is that interpreted in the country that you are planning to move in, or you've already moved? What are the laws related to inheritance? Does that change? Divorce, that's another inevitability that could happen to people, that people think, oh, it's going to be forever. But we're human beings. It could happen. One of the mistakes that people make is they bias a little too much to, invincibility, and not thinking about, well, what could happen. And so I would say with that, you can look at, wills and estates that are applicable into the country that you're considering. There's a thing called, and I'm not a lawyer, but international wills. understanding whether or not you need to mirror your will. And so what are your intent in your country of citizenship, and what might be applicable in the country you're considering? Are there parallels? Are there conflicts? If you own property in one country, but you die in that country, what are the inheritance laws? What taxes might be applicable? Like, there's a whole myriad of things. And sometimes, like I said, people just want to ignore that. But what happens is you have loved ones potentially in your country of citizenship that may not speak the language in your new country, don't understand the laws and the culture the way you do as someone who lives there. And then now they are tasked with navigating not knowing where your assets are, or who has right to what. And so
Yeah.
that is one big one.
Yeah. Okay. As you're saying all this, I'm thinking, I'm like putting my hand in my head, like, oh no, I've been one of these ignoring this. I guess I assume, okay, my wife will just get everything if I die, but tax wise and all of that, I've been avoiding, trying to figure out what's the smartest way to kind of set things up. So thank you for the kick in the butt I needed.
No problem. We're actually tackling that on the Move to Portugal Summit this year, and we have an attorney. So not me giving advice at all, but we'll have an attorney who does this. And this was one of the things that, like I said, just in the time that I've been here, there are people who have gotten divorced. There are people who have unfortunately lost their partner in that time, and they just got or had a parent they brought over a pass, and then there was a whole chain of events, which probably leads to the next thing to avoid.
Okay, yeah, let's get to it.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of along the same thread, but just understanding healthcare. So sometimes, well, I live in Portugal and we have a private healthcare system as well as a public healthcare system. We all know, well, you and I know, the United States healthcare system is special. And oftentimes people think like, oh, well, I'll move to this country and, I've got, like right now, I have access to great healthcare. But there are times where I go back to the States to see my family, to see my kids. I might be there. Well, I haven't been there longer than 9 days, but in the future, I might decide that I want to stay for a month. Well, what happens if I get sick or if I get in an accident or something else, right? We all know America's healthcare system can get pretty daggone expensive. And so what are the things that you need to put in place to think about how do you navigate those visits and how do you remain protected? So looking at different service providers who offer those type of like gap insurance, and then also for people who are in the more senior age group, they have to sign up for the different Medicare products. And so are you comfortable with just relying on that should you come back to the United States for, as an example, for a long period of time? Or do you have to think about, self-insuring, which I would not recommend because again, you could get a paper cut and $1,000 hospital bill in the United States. But thinking through that, the other thing along that line is, and this happened with someone last year who brought their parent over, and that parent wound up passing away. But in that time between the time that they became seriously ill and they passed, they thought they had checked all the boxes. They made sure they had a will, they had in their home country, and they had a healthcare directive. So do you want life-sustaining measures, et cetera, et cetera? Well, what they didn't realize is that in Portugal, that document has to be renewed every certain amount of years. I think it's like 5. And that document was created in the United States, and an apostille, the whole bit, maybe it was created 10 years prior. Well, it was not recognized. And so they were not able to honor what was on the paper because they just assumed because I have this document, it also stands true in the next country. And so just thinking about, end of life wishes and understanding health insurance and healthcare differences is something that I see some people ignore.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that. That's hugely important. And it is the stuff that's easier to avoid.
Oh,
right?
100%. Nobody wants to think about that stuff.
It's one of those things that could just you could go down the rabbit hole and just be like, oh, forget it. This is too much to deal with. I'm just going to stay here. I'm not going to move abroad. I mean, what would be your advice there for when you should kind of dive deep on these things? Do you do it all this up front, or do you feel like there's a little bit of this is very individualistic, of course, but I always think for myself, there are certain things that I know if I don't ignore certain things, it's going to stop me from doing it in the first place. And I'd rather do it but that's not always necessarily the smartest move.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's certain things that happen in stages, right? So, for example, I have yet to do a will, but here, what I have are, my accounts all have the beneficiaries, right? I'm also considering buying real estate soon. Buying real estate in another country, in my mind, changes things significantly to where now creating a will is more important because now I have an asset that goes beyond the couple €1,000 that might be sitting in a bank account. Now I have a, couple $100,000 asset, right? That just changes things. And so I would think about it in stages. Are you doing certain things or not doing things that might be applicable or change the formula from the status quo? I think just being plugged into that.
Where are we at?
Where are we at? Let's go to something a little lighter.
Okay.
We've been talking about gloom and doom, so I don't want to keep the people. People hesitate. So let's talk about something a little lighter. I think it's I see people overpacking or bringing a ridiculous amount of things to their new country and paying thousands of dollars to move furniture, move vehicles. In some cases, and I'm a pet lover, so I know this is going to annoy some people, move some animals. And you got to kind of think through those things because it goes back to what I had said about, you don't know the you that's going to emerge in your new country. There are spatial concerns. We're in a part of the world where it's square meters, not square feet. And they're European sized refrigerators, not these big, ginormous, American refrigerators. Sometimes in countries like, I was thinking France in particular, where and even here, you're being moved in and out through windows versus, elevators. They may not have a lift. And so sometimes people think that they need to take everything, all their treasured possessions and bring them wherever they're going in the world. But again, your style might change, your style of dress, your style of decor, your need for certain things might change. And so I say try to get ahead of it by decluttering, being intentional as you think through what you want to carry with you and how do you preserve certain things without having to have the physical object with you. And so that's one of the things that I think people kind of run into some snags with.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything that you left at home that you wish you brought?
No. There are things that when I go on visits that I'm like, oh, you know what? I think I want to bring maybe a photo album or, things like that. But for the most part, photos I scanned. I wouldn't call myself a minimalist, but I don't have a lot of possessions. I came here with uh, 3 suitcases. Well, really 2 suitcases and a carry-on, and then the dog.
Yeah, that's much easier to kind of create a new life, I guess, if
Hmm.
you don't have all the baggage with you literally.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, great advice. Anything else on that list?
One last one I would say is, and this is applicable for those in the United States, I think mostly, is freezing your credit, because scammers be scamming. And people have a lot, may not be as cognizant of the fact that because we live in a digital and connected society, that we have these digital footprints everywhere. And we might be posting about some fabulous experience that we had online or whatever. And then it becomes like, oh, well, I know this person is in, from a scammer, right? This part of the world, and they're not here. And oh, well, figuring out how to get access to their sensitive information. And so I think one of the ways in which you can protect yourself is to put a lock on your credit that prevents someone from opening lines of credit when you are not here. And thinking about, how do you want to handle, documents that might come in the mail. Um, and then one last one, it's a bonus one, is mistakes that people make. Again, this one is mostly for the Americans. Forgetting to stay registered. You can still vote from abroad. And so definitely when you make your leap, I encourage people to stay connected to what happens in your country of origin, because whether you may not have plans to go back, you, I'm sure, have someone that you care near and dear about. And so how do you want to ensure that they will be okay? And I think that's one of the things that I would encourage everyone to do.
Awesome. Thank you for bringing all the wisdom today. Yeah, it's interesting with the news thing. I don't know if it's a language thing or, but I tend to follow what's going on back in the States way more than I follow what's going on here where I actually live. I do read the paper here and everything like that, but it's something about, it just takes a longer time to understand, political parties here and who's doing what and how everything works. And it's just, I don't know if it's just laziness, I guess.
I definitely can't say I understand all the seems like 9 million political parties here, which it's actually refreshing that there are more options. Again, it's said in naivete as being 1 year in, but in terms of just being able to feel like you have some representation. Whereas, the United States is the only country that I've lived in other than here. You really just have the two major ones, or you are an independent. And so I think that that's one of the things that I've observed from people that are living abroad, and they have more access to different parties, and just kind of understanding that is a good thing.
Yeah. So if people go over to blaxitglobal.com, we'll link up to all this and they sign up, they're going to get the information when you do the summits and things like that, or this another scout house or things like that. It all goes out on the email list.
Yes, the email list is the best way to stay connected with all things Blaxit Global, as well as joining Blaxit Global Passport. But yes, the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit is happening November 1st through 3rd. And then our Scout House cohort will be in 2025.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you got the website, the podcast, we'll link up to everything. I appreciate you. I'm so glad we're connected, and I appreciate your time today.
Likewise.
And I'm sure we'll continue to trade messages, including
Yes.
all of the American foods we're missing and that we wish we could bring back with us.
Trader Joe's, come, please. I need you.
As most good Americans abroad are doing, it seems like at least the Americans abroad groups here in Norway I'd say, on social media, like 90% of the posts are just like food related, It's like, look, I just got back from America. It's not like a picture of them at the Grand Canyon. It's
No.
an open suitcase with like Lucky Charms
Mm-hmm.
and Cheetos and a whole bunch of, who knows what.
Oh, yeah.
That's how it is. So what's in your suitcase when you come back home?
Oh, I already told my daughter when I go back for Thanksgiving, I said, you need to go to Trader Joe's because it's pumpkin season. So I was like, get all my pumpkin bread, all my pumpkin muffins. I need like my list of seasonal things. I also like lima beans because it's going to be cold. So there are things that I will be loading up the suitcase with and bringing back to Portugal.
Nice. Yeah. One last question on the moving abroad, because you mentioned kids back in the States, and when you have tight family connections like this, I'm sure that can be one of the biggest concerns is like, how much am I going to see them? Am I going to get back? How is that whole adjustment gonna go? What would be your advice to people that are maybe leaving behind like kids or just close family that they have that's they want to see on the regular, but also you want to live your life? That can be a challenge,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to miss moments. Last year I missed my aunt's 80th birthday, which is why I'm making an effort to go back for Thanksgiving. And for my children, we communicate via WhatsApp, which was something that they had gotten used to with all of the travel I was doing leading up to the move. And then before I left, I taught my mother how to use WhatsApp, and she's almost 83. So it's a little bit of a learning curve, but, and helping her understand the time zone difference. But I think if you do those things in advance and think about how often you want to communicate, how you want to communicate, I think that helps people feel more connected to your experience and sharing those moments that matter on both sides. I love hearing the updates from my kids. But I also know so far my daughter has come here once. She's planning to come again during her winter break. My son has not come at all. And I've been okay with that, right? And then you have the people that, you haven't seen at all when you were in the same country, let alone the same state, who magically show up and they're like, hey, I'm in Portugal. And it's like, wait, what? So that's part of the process too.
Yeah, right. That's awesome. Oh, awesome. Thanks for the amazing work you're doing. Thanks for the amazing conversation and for all the wisdom today. I look forward to doing this again at some point. And I know I said it last time, but I was like, oh, let's do this in person next time. Here we are still doing it online, but one of these is going to be over an 80-cent coffee in Portugal.
Yes. Notice I didn't say I was coming for the 5.
I'll keep working on you for that. All right.
No, I'll have coffee at your place.
Fair enough. We got a spare bed right up here. You're more than welcome. Thanks, Chrishan.
Thanks, Jason.
Take care.
You too.
There you have it. I want to thank Chrishan Wright once again for stopping by the show and sharing her knowledge and sharing so transparently some of these mistakes that people make moving abroad. Oftentimes, the mistakes are the things we can learn the most from. And it's nice to hear what those common ones are. And when we can bring somebody on the show that has a meta perspective on that, they've had their own personal experience, but they also have the experience of seeing what mistakes others make. It's super helpful. And so I want to thank her for putting together this list today. Now, I want to share a quick shout out to a listener in this community. Before I do that, please sign up for the newsletter. I actually share these stories in the newsletter as well. We have a visual component to go with that because this particular listener sent me some pictures. And I just love to share these stories anywhere, whether it's on the podcast or in the newsletter or with a person I'm talking to in my neighborhood. I sometimes will share stories that I hear that really inspire me from this listening community. and from the Zero to Travel community here. This is a community-powered show, so don't be afraid to get in touch and share your stories, because I love to share them with the community here. It's like paying it forward. You know, you get out, you travel, or you do something, or you have something to share, and you never know who that's going to inspire, who that's going to help on any day. You never know when your story might be hitting somebody else's ears, just like the stories on this podcast that you hear from guests hit your ears on a certain day, maybe catch your ear, catch your attention, inspire you, or, you know, cause you to take action in some way. You can be that for other people. That's what I'm trying to foster here with this community. And so don't be shy about reaching out. You can sign up over there, by the way, zerototravel.com/newsletter. Or you can just send me an email, jason@zerototravel.com. Send me a voicemail, however you want to do it. Just get in touch. Okay. Big shout out to James. You know, the subject header was checking in day 5 of 180. That was pretty cool. I'm like, what's going on here? He says, hey, Jason, hope you're doing well, man. Been listening to the podcast for 10 years or so, which seems crazy to think back on now. Can only imagine how you must feel after all these years. I'm feeling great, James. Anyway, he goes on to say, I've sent a message or two in the past, wanted to reach out. I've recently embarked on a trip that would not have happened if I hadn't been part of your listening community during my formative years. I'm writing you from Guarnaville, California, on the 5th day of a 6-month motorcycle trip from my home in Vancouver, Canada to Ushuaia, Argentina for an estimated total of 25,000 miles. It's already been amazing and beautiful and challenging, and at times a little lonely as a solo traveler, but I couldn't be more excited for what's to come or more grateful to be where I am. Thank you for everything you do. I'm sure you have a lot of followers out there like me, might not have felt empowered to take the leap without all of the inspiring stories that you showcase. It's important and meaningful work that you do. Wow, I'm getting chills just reading that, and I really appreciate those kind words. So thank you, James, for taking the time to share your story and to send me the pictures. You got this awesome picture of you out front of your house with the motorcycle, and I got a shot of the motorcycle with like a beautiful beach view in the background. And there he is. He's out there living his dream, doing the thing. And I just want to give him some props. So anyway, let me showcase your story if you have something to share. And don't feel like it has to be some grand adventure on any level. I find these stories inspiring. This is just, it's not about like whether you're going 25,000 miles or 25 miles away on a road trip and you had something you wanted to share about that. I mean, it's all good. That's what it's all about. It's just about getting out there, connecting with people, connecting with the world, learning about the world, learning about yourself. And it's all the stuff we talk about here that we love. So anyway, thanks for letting me just pour my heart out a little bit here to share this story and to just kind of try to remind you gently that this is really about connection, even though I'm in a room by myself talking to a microphone. I feel like I am talking with you. I feel like I feel your presence here. I know you're here with me. And anyway, just wanted to put that all out there. So get in touch if you have. Okay. We'll leave you with a quote, then I'll let you go about your day. This one from, oh, where did it go? Did I pull it out of the quote? Hold on a minute. I'm losing my edge. If anybody knows what song I'm quoting, then you know it. All right. This is Sri Chimney, who said, be sincere in your thoughts, be pure in your feelings. You will not have to run after happiness. Happiness will run after you. I love that idea. Like, if happiness is chasing me down, I'm going to let it catch me. Give me a big hug. So let happiness run you down. Give you a big hug today. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. Peace and love to you and yours. Cheers.
This podcast has been brought to you by zerototravel.com. Ideas and advice to make your travel dreams a reality.